Hello, my name is Benjamin Swan. This is the video report for my Systems Administration course assignment 2. This video will be split into 5 different parts. One for each task, this introduction, and the summary at the very end, reflection, stuff like that. Task 1 was about connecting to a Ubuntu VPS, configuring it, doing some standard work to it, installing Apache, installing MariaDB, and setting up CGI with Apache. Pretty straightforward. I didn't personally have too many difficulties with this. Um, Both the services are running. Like we can see, we have MariaDB running, up and running, no problem. We've got Apache 2 up and running. We've got the backup.bash script, which we can go ahead and use. Just backs up a certain directory, backs up 3 different directories for the Apache. And for CGI, placing the information script in /user/lib/cgi-bin makes it, and after using a2 and mod to enable CGI, pretty straightforward. And so here I just I curled the local host, get the hello world, that's what we required to do, change the default HTML, as well as curl the bash script, and we can get the info.bash script that I have also included in the appendix of my report. So I didn't have any issues with this. I felt good about this. That ends task 1. So for task 2, we were to make 2 different Docker files. One that ran the CGI, the information script we made in the task 1, as well as one that runs cowdude or cowsay. So I can go ahead and show you the 2 images I've made. The syntax for Docker files are relatively straightforward. You choose your container and its version, the commands you want it to run, and then what you want it to output in the terminal. Sometimes you would have this just be like a tail or something, generic command just to keep it running. That was the cowsay, and then we got the Apache, where again I'm using Ubuntu. Needed to install these different things. I install curl into the Apache file, or into the Apache container I use, because when I run the command, when I run the container, I want the output to be in the terminal, and I want it to serve as a website. So that's pretty cool. And then of course, setting it up with Docker Compose is really easy. Just define services with YAML, select the image. I've built these images locally with the names cowdude and inform Apache, and of course port mapping. We can build these or execute these containers using the Docker Compose up, because I've specified them and I've built them. And here we have the cowdude man, which is one of the things, one of the containers. Here I get my cowsay output, and then here is the same information script. I can prove that this works by, in another terminal, I can curl my localhost at port 8080, which I've matched, which the Apache container is mapped to. And of course, I get the same output. So here we have the same host name from the output of the output from the terminal from running the container. Everything's the same. Feels good. Didn't really have any issues with this, other than some really funny syntax for the Apache container, because to get it to serve the website, stay running, and output into the terminal, I have this really cursed bash name. And I get the shell, I start the Apache CTL, I sleep for a few seconds, and then I curl itself, and then I tail /dev/null. I think that's pretty funny. But yeah, I didn't really have any too many issues with this. I've used Docker many times before in the past. Pretty straightforward for me. Not many issues. So for task 3, we are to create a VM or bare metal installation, in my case a VM, of a lightweight Linux distribution that we like, and set it up, configure it, install another browser on a SSH into the VPS from the first task. Okay, no problem. So I can go ahead and spin up the VM I have. Now, unfortunately, due to some shenanigans, I can't boot into the latest kernel. I've documented extensively issues with the initram and grub and all of that stuff in my report. We can go ahead and log into the machine, and I have prepared a little startup script to help set everything up for myself. It involves mounting a local file, which includes my SSH keys, setting up edu, VPN, connecting to the machine, and of course SSHing into the VM or the VPS. So I can connect to the VPN. I can connect to the VPS. We can confirm that this is the VPS by curling itself, and of course we get the hello world, and we can also look at the info.bash script that I made in the first task. So connection established, feels great. I had a lot of issues setting up this VM because of my own eagerness to be different. Void Linux does not use systemd, so services and commands I was expecting and familiar with were missing. As well as the first time I installed it, I used Muscle, which is an alternative to libc. Turns out using a Python-based app to connect to a VPN without libc and instead of having an experimental version is going to cause some problems. So I had to reinstall, and then I had tons of issues with like Oracle VirtualBox not shutting down the machine correctly, and so the grub was never updated, and it doesn't realize it's a VM, so the default init RAM doesn't have the drivers to mount the hard drive. Oh my lord, so massive headache, but it's okay. We figured it out. We did it. So to confirm that the SCP works, we can go ahead and look at the Ubuntu user on the VPS. There's nothing here. Great. So we can go ahead. I've prepared a little command. We can go ahead and in my directory there's nothing. We can make a silly file. We can say this is a silly file. Oh, that's right. This is a mounted drive. So this is on my host. So with the silly file made, we can do sudo scp. We can use the local key we have on the cumulus on our machine. We can use a silly file, and we can go to Ubuntu at 172.27.60.150, and we can specify the dirt to be the Ubuntu home directory. SCP works. We go back to the VPS. We can see that a silly file is in fact here. Voila. Now we also need to have multiple different browsers. So by default, Void Linux comes with Firefox. I went ahead and installed Chromium through the XBPS package manager that Void Linux ships with, and we can launch it. Hi world. Yeah, I don't want cookies, but we can still use Chromium. We can also go to the IP address of my VPS, and of course we can go to cgi/info.bash. Everything seems to be up and running. In regards to playing videos, I used a YouTube downloader to download a really silly parody rap music video. I can launch. It does in fact work. Yeah. So um, that's it. We want to also see the disk usage. Um, what is it? Dash C dash H slash. So all in all, this installation with Chromium, with the video downloaded, everything, all in all takes about 6 gigs. We can also look at top and we can see the memory usage because that's what I know most of us really care about, memory and CPU usage. Because a disk, that can be, how often are you going to be stuck with less than like 20 gigs? But running the EDU VPN, running a few terminals, um, very low usage, 99.2% idle. And if we look at memory free, I gave the machine roughly 4 gigabytes of memory, and it's used 693. Like, it's an incredibly lightweight, minimal distro. The instead of systemd, it uses run it, which is built upon key concepts from the sys5 init 5. You know, that guy, that old, oh so old. I don't even remember. I learned about it a little bit a little while ago. But yeah, very minimal, very lightweight distro. And once I installed it properly, I had it was smooth as butter. Once I admitted defeat and used libc, oh, life became better. I like this distro a lot, and I'm probably going to use it for containers in the future. It's pretty good. I like it. Minimal, lightweight, simple, good time. This ends task 3. So that pretty much finishes the project. For the reflection, the today I learned section, I really liked Void, and I really liked the community I found around Void, and I was really frustrated um, with Void at first because I've just been so spoiled by more complete and bloated distros. I did not ever have to, when I've updated my kernels in the past, I've never had to update grub. For me, that's just been a, included in the package. So going back to a more minimal distro after spending so much time with develop one was a little hard at first, but with how little memory it takes and the fact that it doesn't use systemd, I can think of some excellent use cases like running this guy on like a microcontroller or for an IoT device. Oh my god, it'd be perfect for it. So I'm really happy with Void. Um, I enjoyed this. This was cool.